Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Squares of the Round Table. I'm Javier Ivan Rivera.
I'm Jeff Stein.
I'm Mike Boyle. Greetings.
And many salutations to you all out there. And, of course, glad that you can join us on this podcast, which, of course, can be a myriad of wonderful, wonderful things. Gentlemen, what is on your minds?
Well, we had a good weekend. Wasn't that bad. A little bit of rainy. We had some unseasonable weather this weekend.
The plants are the only ones that are benefiting from all of this rain. I've never seen my hostas grow up so fast in so few hours.
Yeah. Well, that for people who are not aware, we're in the Chicago area, so yes, there was apparent Chicago weather. Stand for 15 seconds, it'll change.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only place I know that, if you don't like the weather in Chicago, you wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, then you'll find construction.
There you go. Well, there's only two things in Chicago.
There's yes, I'm aware.
Yeah.
I had to get out to Oak Brook last night, and it only been a couple of months since I've been out that way, and it's like, oh goody, I-88's been totally ripped up. Yay!
Hi, how about a minefield to go run into?
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's always fun. Yeah, that's But let's see. The only thing I can say is I did see Ocean's 8.
I did too.
You did? Okay.
So what'd y'all think?
Okay, you go first, Jeff.
I went in the morning. If I had paid full price, I probably would be annoyed.
Why? Why would you say that?
There were sections where it was very slow moving, and it really felt like at times it needed an antagonist a little bit more, a real antagonist, a real bad guy, to be their foil, and that didn't really happen. I liked a lot of the people in it. I liked the one twist near the end with that. I'm not going to mention whose character because we can do this without spoilers, I think. But I like the one twist near the end to get it to Ocean's 8. I like that. The guy who does the sing along in the car, I can't remember his name, James something or other, drawing a blank. I thought he was really good. You know which guy I'm talking about. The guy who does like this. He takes the celebrities and they sing in the car and they sing their songs and all that stuff with him.
Yeah.
So
I know you're talking
carpool or whatever. Carpool karaoke.
Yeah, the car karaoke guy. He was really funny. I liked him. I thought he was, and it was fine because he's later in the movie, but I really thought he was pretty good.
Yeah.
But it just felt lacking in sections and part of it just seemed like it dragged a little bit. And then, like I said, without a real antagonist in this movie, I felt like it lost a step here. I do like the characters. I did feel like once it got moving, it was fun, but I felt like it was kind of obvious where they were going to go with it and how this was all going to work. But, I don't know. I know that they're setting up this is a long-term franchise where, they're probably going to do another one or two movies. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm going to guess that I already know the direction for the next movie.
I think this movie is a character built to a different movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, because you go into the life of all the characters and their origins. They touch upon the origins of all the characters and where they originated, what they were doing, what was going on in their lives. Up to the point before they became, the super group they became. And the thing is, it was touching that they included all of the ethnicity within the frame of the movie, but to me it just seems like almost token-like in the fact that they got this one person to do this one thing, we got this one doing this one thing, and we got this girl doing this one thing. The fact that they went across the board with the females, just kind of smacks of, the reinventing of particular roles in motion pictures. I mean, we've discussed this before, i.e. like the Ghostbusters where they all became female instead of the males, whereas you've had Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, and all the rest of them in previous where they were all guys with some girls in there. But, they just kind of made this its own, they made it its own vehicle for what I think is, like it says, it's going to be, I feel it's a character built to another movie. I think this is just the prequel to the next motion picture.
Yeah, it definitely has a prequel feel to it. It feels like it's setting up to let you know about characters for the future. I'm going to stop you on the Ghostbusters thing. I don't have a problem with these female
No. I'm not saying I have. I'm not saying I have a problem with the females. No, I don't have a problem with them. I'm just saying that this seems to be a trend that's happening now with the movie.
Here's the difference I'm going to give between Ghostbusters and I'm going to give between that and Ocean's 8.
All right.
I feel like Ghostbusters. I mean, I watched the trailer. I saw that movie. It took all my life power to stay awake and actually watch to the end of the movie. I thought it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Okay.
I really thought it was horrible. And I thought it before when I saw the trailer. When I watched the trailer, I was like, ooh, this is really going to be bad. I rented it on demand for $5, and you know what? I really wanted to call back up and go, give me my $5 back. I'm serious. And it has nothing to do with some of the women who were in it or who was acting in it. I think that they're all great, talented actors, all of them. I think it was bad material.
It was just poorly written.
It was just horrible. I literally was like, oh my God. You know what? If someone truly wanted to torture me for secrets, they just put that movie on it. And I'm telling you right now, that would be it. I just couldn't.
Kind of like in A Clockwork Orange, they could go ahead and stick something in your eyes and keep your eyes open while you're watching the screen.
Yeah.
And you're like, no!
Yeah. Whereas with Ocean's 8, I at least felt like they got it. They understood it. And part of it, I think part of it is too, when you've got Sandra Bullock as your lead, she's going to have a lot of input. And at this point in her career, she's going to have a lot of say. If it's not a good movie, or she hasn't figured it out, then that's going to be a problem. And I would imagine, too, given the previous people involved with this franchise, I wouldn't be surprised if the likes of Clooney and whatnot were part of this to make sure that it kept to what they did with the original. And like I said, I don't want to spoil anything. I think depending on directions of what they do and where they go with what would essentially be Ocean's 9,
right?
I think there's some interesting things that they could do.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't think I'm spoiling anything when I say this, but I wouldn't mind seeing a competition between Sandra Bullock's character and George Clooney's character.
All right, I'll give you that.
I think it would be interesting if they had some sort of prize, and it was kind of a game of can you top this?
Right.
A brother-sister rivalry kind of thing.
Kind of a cat and mouse type of thing, maybe?
I'm sorry?
Kind of like a cat and mouse type of thing?
Yeah, especially if you had some sort of antagonist. Like, if you brought back, what's his name? The guy from the first Oceans, from the remake, from the Oceans 11 movie.
Right.
Oh God, the guy who played the guy who was the casino guy.
I know who you're talking about. Just the name.
My names are escaping me today. It's not good.
Ray Liotta?
Yeah, no, not Ray Liotta. Oh no, same idea, but not Ray Liotta.
That would be an idea.
Andy Garcia. Okay. Right? Yeah.
I was bad with names last week, so
yeah, no, that's fine.
Your turn.
That's okay. Yeah, Andy Garcia. I think somebody like that, if they set somebody up where it was kind of like, okay, you have kind of a major antagonist, and then you kind of have it where the two of them are kind of at the same time doing like a competition where it kind of screws up that antagonist. That could be fun. It'd be fun, especially if you had something where, Julia Roberts came back and sided with the girls. That could be fun too.
Okay.
Again, there's some things about, you could even, I believe Catherine Zeta-Jones was in one of them too. You could bring her back too.
Right.
You could do some of that. And there were a couple of pieces that they brought back in that related to the Ocean's 11, 12, and 13. I don't want to spoil anything, but there were a couple characters that found their way back into the movie.
Okay.
But overall, for its what I could say for its lack of continuity, just the fact that it ebbed and flowed instead of had a steady stream of things going throughout the whole movie. I have to say, the way they went about it was rather clever.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it did have its own charm.
Yeah.
So to that, it wasn't a wasted movie experience at all. But it just made me think to myself, yeah, you know what? I hope the next one they kind of dive and do more.
Right.
I mean, now I got an understanding of the characters, and I got an understanding of the premise. Let's go ahead and let's shake the bowl a little bit and see where all the lettuce and tomatoes fall.
Yeah, well, I don't know about now. You're making me hungry. Why do you guys do that? I just ate too. I don't know.
Food is my best example.
Oh, okay. Food is your best example. Now it's just gonna make me hungry. Yeah, I just felt like there were sections that were lacking. The other thing was there's some really fun cameos in the movie of other major famous Hollywood women that if you blink you might miss it. They really start near the back half of the movie, not so much in the front, but.
A lot of them stayed in the background. They didn't forefront many of them. I mean, they kind of like all blended in, and you had to keep your eye on it.
Yeah. Well, like I was watching it with my mom, and I had to point out a couple people, and she's like, "Oh, really? Is that so and so?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's so and so."
Now, if I'm not mistaken, okay, I watched the credits. I'm a credit watcher. I do that. Mm-hmm. Okay, and did I see Kylie Jenner was in this too?
I'm telling you, if you blinked, you missed somebody.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I mean, like, I guess we can spoil a little bit.
Some celebrity Easter eggs?
Like actually, Anne Hathaway's character is at the table, and she's sitting there having a conversation, and sitting right next to them is Katie Holmes. So, where it's like, I had to point that one out. Like, the back half of it lends itself to that. I really did think that there was some. I thought Helena Bonham Carter did a very good job. I liked her. I liked the one who played Nine Ball. I thought she was fun.
Yeah.
I think Kate Blanchett. I think it was Kate Blanchett, right? I thought she did.
It was Kate Blanchett, yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was really good. Obviously Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock basically is essentially the Danny Ocean of this whole thing, and she does that really, really well.
Yeah, she was the keystone of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And she held it together well, and the fact that all the other characters could play off of her like they did actually worked in her favor as far as the way the whole movie, starts to develop, all the way through. So, if you get it as a matinee, it's a great matinee movie. If you wait till the DVD, it's also a good movie.
Or on demand. I just don't know that I would, if I had gone in the evening, I think I'd have sat there and been like, ooh, over $10 for this movie. Not feeling it. I just don't.
I played it smart. I went to Cinemark, and I did the bargain rate, you know, and of course it's nice. Wow. It's also nice when you're okay. Now here it comes. Now that I am a senior citizen.
Oh, old guy.
So so I got the senior rate too. So
I was just about to crack a joke, and oh my God, it came true.
Oh, you don't crack a joke. You might crack a hip.
I have no shame in it, man. You know what I mean? It is what it is, bro.
Yeah. Shut up. Go
Put
away.
on your thick eyeglasses and you just hobble up with your cane.
You guys are starting. Get off my lawn. Get off my lawn.
Really.
You know,
you don't have to crack a joke, Mike, because he might crack a hip.
No. So out of 5 mans, what do you give Ocean's 8, Ivan?
I would have to go with 3.5.
I go 3.
Ooh.
I go 3.
I go 3.5 just because for me, like I said, it came off the way it did. I enjoyed it for what it was. I've seen worse movies. Okay, so let's just say, I'm hoping that if they do indeed follow this up with an Ocean's 9, it'll be real interesting to see how they take what they did in this movie and add it to the next movie in the hopes that if they're going to build on it, that this was foundation that they were laying down to a bigger franchise, you know, or a bigger movie.
It's interesting because the numbers supposedly. Here's the interesting part. A movie like this, with this kind of cast, you would think it would have to make big, huge box office numbers, and yet this movie did about, and this is what's crazy in today's economy of movies, this movie did about maybe 40, 50 million, but it's being considered a success versus a movie like Solo where it's over, I don't know, I think it's over 200, I believe it's over 200 million, right? I mean,
Solo's over 250 million.
Right, 250 million. That's not a success.
No.
So I mean, that's the crazy part.
Well, I think it depends on category. For what it is, and if the studio made their money back and then made a profit off of their initial investment, okay, to them could translate into success. Whereas you got a franchise, Star Wars franchise, and all of its tributaries therein. Yeah, okay, it's expected, you know, to make $250 million because it's attached to something.
Well, it's not like that. It's with budget and what's expected,
promotion and
promotion and all that stuff, and what the projections are. Because it's Star Wars, it should make X amount of dollars. And here's the crazy part to me. It's looked at crazy to me because were you really expecting Black Panther to make you the kind of money it did? Because it didn't. I mean, I understand that's an
entirely different thing, though.
Disney, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it all goes to Disney's bottom line. So if Solo underperforms, but Black Panther spectacularly overperforms,
like amazeballs.
Yeah, like amazeballs. Do we really look at it like, okay, this is bad? I mean, and then again, I'm not a money guy, so I guess I can't answer that question.
Well, maybe certain things balance themselves out at the end of the ledger.
I would think so. If that's the case, then you got all kinds of problems with ESPN. I won't even get into that. But that's not even in our purview. I don't even want to go down that road.
You're thinking about it, though.
No, not today. Not today. One of these days, I'm going to get on a sports rant, and we'll do that.
Oh boy, the legendary Jeff Stein sports rant. Oh, talking about legendary, man. That was.
We're gonna avoid. You really want the legendary sports rant? Go ahead. Ask me what I think of pro wrestling today. That's a 30-minute rant all by itself.
I know.
I know. By the way, if we ever run out of material one day, that's all you got to
do. Oh, speaking of wrestling, okay, going back to just for a few seconds for classic Weef Radio, Tony Napoli's engineer is the cat that used to do Over the Top Rope Radio now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of it being a small world. I was finding out about Michael Bugioni, who I'm surprised that you know him and that I end up knowing him too.
Oh yeah.
Which he invited me over to his place for one of your Thursday evening game things, and I said I'd get back to him. I had to check out my schedule. So hey, who knows? I might be doing some Star Wars gaming with you in the near future.
Yeah, we'll see. We haven't talked gaming on this show as much as we should. By the way, apparently Saturday is National Free RPG Day?
Where?
What?
Hold on, I gotta look this up. Mike sent this to me.
You go ahead and look it up. I wanted to go see the Mr. Rogers documentary, but it was playing in Evanston, so I didn't want to drive like 38 miles to the theater to see it. So that's definitely a download or a Netflix thing when it comes out, but I'm really interested in that. Obviously, Mr. Rogers being an awesome part of my childhood.
Well, yeah, I mean, my childhood too. And the underground chaos movie, the story of Wax Trax Records in Chicago. The tickets sold out in mere hours. They had to add another showing for it. Also sold out in mere hours. Now I gotta wait till the DVD comes out so I can see it, because it was just those were the only two showings they were gonna have of it, and it was full full house, both showings. Okay. And it's a great story. I mean, Wax Trax was a big part of my life, because in the late 1970s and 80s, this was this iconic record store that was down the street from even just as iconic Biograph Theater. Okay. And, the documentary centers around the two owners that brought up this wonderful record shop, which parts of the interiors were actually in the film of Pretty in Pink. Where Ducky is going down the stairs and he's going from the back door, and the interiors of that was actually part of the Wax Trax record shop when that was taking
John
place.
Hughes did a lot of filming in the Chicago area, and that's one of the more iconic underground record stores, like you said. So
yeah, and not to mention the fact that its label, KDFDM, was one of the iconic bands that recorded there. Bronski Beat, number of different artists. I think My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, I think, recorded there as well. And all of these wonderful, wonderful things that happened in this shop and in this record label. And then
are you talking about?
It's really quite the story. So I'm hoping that once the DVD comes out, if they are indeed going to put it out on DVD, once I review it, then I'll be able to talk about it in a future broadcast. I've got a lightning bug in my apartment. Okay.
Okay. Speaking of lightning, my understanding is Saturday is, according to this, is Free RPG Day. Now, what they say here is, Free RPG. Now, if you want to go, it's www.freerpgday.com. It will allow you to locate local retailers who are participating. My understanding is that if you go to your local participating retailer to play new games and get free stuff, every retailer has their own version of Free RPG Day, each running games they want to run. What they all have in common is free stuff donated to them by all your favorite publishers. It's a day to play games and celebrate the hobby and play games.
There you go.
Wow.
I know usually the first weekend in April is usually that board game day that Will Wheaton, however you pronounce it, promotes. That the board game day, but it's Saturday, so I work on Saturday.
Yeah, just like wasn't comic book day on a weekend too?
It's usually the first Saturday in May.
On a weekend. That's already happened.
Yeah.
First
Saturday in May.
Right.
So, game stores in the area, well, I'm trying to see how far out this goes. Let's see, game stores that are in the area that are doing it. Cat and Mouse Games on Madison in Chicago. First Aid Comics in Chicago. Graham Cracker Comics in Chicago.
Yeah, Graham Cracker's pretty big.
It's a good store. A place called Drakstar Games in Batavia. Someplace called Amazing Fantasy in Frankfurt. There's a store in Kenosha. There's a Graham Crackers in Plainfield that's also doing it. By the Board Games and Entertainment in Indiana. This goes all the way out to Bourbonnais. There's places in Franklin, Wisconsin. Again, I'm getting a 100-mile radius from around where we're at. Again, you want to go to www.freerpgday.com. Go to the retail locator, and it will give you names and places. It's interesting. But I know Omega Station in the city is doing it as well over on the north side. So you definitely want to check that out. Games Plus has been around forever, so that's probably a good location too. I don't know some of these other ones, but there's a bunch of stuff out, like there's a Graham Crackers in Naperville.
I think there's one in St. Charles. Or is that a different franchise?
There's definitely some stuff out south.
Yeah.
There's one out by Rockford, something called Love's Park. Again, it's funny. What I'm not noticing is it seems like there's a corridor northwest that seems a little on the open. It's like more west, and I'm not seeing some of the south isn't as covered as much in the area. But
okay.
I mean, there's definitely some stores you can check it out. My understanding is, like I said, Omega Station in the city is going to have it too. Because I know they've asked me about coming and running games that day. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but that's definitely something to consider.
Well, something else this weekend is Brick World in Schaumburg. It's a Saturday and Sunday. It's a big Lego convention.
Is it?
Yeah. It's always Father's Day weekend, yeah, so
right.
I'll be going Sunday.
Well, that's the crazy part. Why would you do this? Like, for example, the other crazy thing that happens this weekend is the Origins Game Fair, which is out in Columbus, Ohio. It starts on Wednesday. It's 5 days technically. It's the 13th through the 17th. They'll get probably in the neighborhood of 10 to 15,000 gamers. There's anything you can think of in terms of, let's see, what do they list as events right now? They have role-playing games, live action, miniatures, tabletops, collectible card games. They have that. Have you ever been to the True Dungeon, Mike?
No.
Okay. True Dungeon is at Origins and Gen Con, and it's kind of like playing D&D where you kind of go through the dungeon. But it's also very similar. It's very similar to an MMO. And then it's like, oh, you can buy things that will help you along. Hint, hint, nod, nod.
No.
And you can continue to. It's like almost like it has an ongoing aspect to it. But yeah, Origins is this weekend too, which I guess explains why we're doing our free RPG day. I don't know. I guess why wouldn't you do it on a different day where it's not Origins?
I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of people who go to Origins. You get 10 to 15,000 people. You get a lot of retailers that go out that way. You get a lot of the major game companies. I mean, I understand there's other stuff going on, and not everybody's going to Origins.
Yeah, there's always other stuff going on. There is a glut of conventions. It's a great time to be a nerd these days.
I don't know. Yeah, it is. So is it because?
Yeah.
Because. Yeah. I think this goes to where I wanted to go. Here's my get off my lawn rant for the day.
Okay, Grandpa.
Yeah, seriously. So I guess the actor who plays Rose Tico in Last Jedi basically shut down all her social media because of
harassment
from
racist assholes
and a bunch of jerks and all this stuff. And you know, a lot of people immediately came to her defense, and as they should. At the same time, there's a part of me though where, you know, Mark Hamill threw out a hashtag #GetALifeNerds, and I get who he's going after, but there's a part of me where I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't know that I appreciate you calling me a nerd. And the other part I've noticed, and I don't know if you've caught this, Mike, is I do feel like there's some people who are using this opportunity to justify against people who may not have liked Last Jedi.
Well, it's just popular right now to hate on Star Wars. So.
But here's the thing, you know what's funny about this? This isn't new. I mean, I heard a lot of the same stuff when episodes 1, 2, and 3 came out.
Well, the prequels, yeah.
Right, I mean, we heard the same stuff, it's just we didn't have social media.
Yeah.
But, you know, we heard similar things. We heard about how Hayden Christensen can't act and how George Lucas doesn't know how to direct suddenly. And that these, you know, the characters are wooden and blah, blah, blah. And all this kind of stuff. We heard all kinds of things like that.
Yeah.
That's you know, with anything, you're going to have your detractors. You're going to have your people that are going to piss and moan, you know, about, you know, something that doesn't conform to their thought of what any franchise should be, or what any movie should be, or what any.
It's just the toxicity of Reddit and 4chan and all these groups who just love to hate.
Well, the problem is the problem is, like, for example, I legitimately have problems with Last Jedi. There are serious issues that I have with it. It bothers me that it takes Luke Skywalker quite a while to figure out how to be a Jedi, and Rey suddenly picks it up like it's like she's the chosen one. I mean, and that's not about Rey being a girl or a woman. I don't understand how suddenly somebody can pick up the Force without having to learn anything.
Well, I think it goes back to Abrams saying that they've changed it in the sense that anybody can be Force sensitive. It's not just having your midichlorian count.
Well, I'm not even looking for a midichlorian count. I mean, there's an entire Empire Strikes Back. You know, really in reality, it takes Luke 2 whole movies to finally get to a point where it's like, yeah, I'm a Jedi now. And even then, he gets his butt handed to him by the Emperor. Okay? You know, I don't know. There's some disconnect moments for me. And again, I don't, honestly, I'm one of the few people who had no problems with Rose Tico. I had no problems with Finn. I liked that storyline. I thought it was interesting. There are a lot of people who didn't. But I'm sorry. I kind of feel like one of the big main plot lines was essentially nothing more than a slow speed car chase.
Yeah, we've talked about the Bronco chase, the OJ Bronco chase.
Right, it was literally like the OJ Bronco. I'm like, come on, seriously? So, I mean, to me, those to me are legitimate. I think, though, that there is an element out there that is using this as an opportunity on both sides, which is, one, to go after people who it's like, well, you just don't like it, blah, blah, and castigating anybody who doesn't like it. And I think Rian Johnson's a little guilty of that too, by the way. But there's the other side of it too, which is there are people who are sitting here having comments like mine, but there are people that are sneaking into those individuals who are indeed jerks, racists, and assholes. That are making it where I or others can't have an opinion because they're screwing it up for everybody else. I think the other one was, like, for example, when Spider-Man Homecoming was happening, there were a lot of people who talked about, Miles Morales should be Spider-Man, not Peter Parker. And for people who aren't aware, Miles Morales was created by Brian Michael Bendis. He was created for the Ultimate Universe and eventually moved over to the regular Marvel Universe. And I like Miles Morales. I think he's a great character. I don't have an issue with him. But I don't also want that movie to be with Miles Morales. I want Peter Parker. And by the way, if Peter Parker was of a Latin, Hispanic, or an African American, that would not bother me. It wouldn't bother me in the least.
Okay, yeah.
But to me, it's just like, Iron Man was replaced with a black teenage girl named Riri Williams. I don't have an issue with that. I think the only issue is, quite frankly, I admit it. I want to see Tony Stark. I just don't know. I don't get it. I mean, here's the part that makes it crazy to me, and I'll throw this to you, Mike, and maybe, I don't know if you remember this or not, but in the 80s, we had a black Iron Man.
I don't remember that.
We had James Rhodes, the guy who plays War Machine.
Oh, yeah, Rhodey, yeah, of course.
Right, because at one point,
Rhodey took over, yeah.
Right, because he's dealing with his alcoholism. And as a matter of fact, in Secret Wars, the biggest book for Marvel in the 80s, their big 12-issue thing that really kind of, to this day, is still a major book for them, it's not Tony Stark. It's James Rhodes.
Yeah. Okay, I thought there was just like you said, ethnicity swap Tony Stark. But no, you're right. Yeah, the Rhodey has taken the reins from Tony for a while. So
right, absolutely.
There were times from that. So too. Yeah. Speaking of, you were talking about Miles Morales. We're gonna have to talk about these trailers that dropped after we recorded on Monday. The Bumblebee trailer, the Lego Movie trailer, the Spider-Verse trailer. Holy crap.
Well, let's start with the Bumblebee trailer. What'd you think, Mike?
I liked it. It had the vibe of the first movie and the look, I think, of Bee, and that one brief shot we get of what's probably going to be Starscream, just the gray and red jet. It looks more like Starscream than the first three movies we got of Starscream looked. And we have a new director. I think, who was it directed? He directed Coraline, I think. So, yeah, I'm very positive about Bumblebee.
Did we see John Cena in the trailer or no? Because I know
just like blink and you missed it.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So he presumed that John Cena will be part of what's called Sector 7, like this underground government agency that works with the robots.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
And
during this time, this is if you want to follow the first continuity, which is a problem with all the Bay films, is that none of them made sense when in relation to each other. But in this movie, it takes place in 1987, which is about 20 years before Bumblebee meets Sam Witwicky or Shia LaBeouf. So at this time, Megatron is still frozen at Hoover Dam, and the giant Allspark cube is still underneath down there. So I'm hoping, I'm very positive about Bumblebee. Ivan, did you watch any of these trailers? The Bee movie, did you see that trailer?
No, I haven't had an opportunity to see the trailers. No, unfortunately.
Okay. But what did you see the new trailer for the Lego Movie?
Now that I did see,
okay.
And that
I did not.
Lego Movie 2, the second part.
Mm-hmm.
That dropped, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yes, Tuesday.
I'm excited. That looks good.
I didn't see the first Lego movie yet. I did see Lego Batman. I loved that. I should really.
Oh, right.
That was good. I saw that.
I really did get Lego Batman. So I'll have to check that out and at some point.
Yeah, I love Chris Pratt's portrayal of the naivete and good-naturedness of Emmett. So. Yeah, Lego Movie, 2 looks good. And
did you get Did you get a trailer in your Ocean's 8 film for a film called The Spy Who Dumped Me?
No, I didn't.
You didn't. Okay, so it's coming out later this August. It's Mila Kunis and Kate McKinnon, and essentially, apparently, her ex-boyfriend is a CIA agent. And apparently she gets dragged in. The two of them get, and her and her best friend get dragged in. And really, here's an example of where, like Ocean's 8 did well. I'm looking at this trailer. I watched the trailer. It was really funny. I thought I think this could be a fun vehicle for late in the summer. A good opportunity for Mila Kunis and both her and Kate McKinnon. It certainly looks interesting. It sounds. I don't know that I'm. I think it might be more of a matinee thing, but it definitely was more appealing. There's a perfect example. Some of them are doing it right with some of this stuff. The Ghostbusters thing, I'm sorry. I'm going to keep going back to that because it was so bad.
Did you see the trailer for Spider-Verse?
Yes, I did.
All right. What's your thoughts on this?
I'm still. I don't know. I'm not. It's not gripping me. I'm not like, ooh, I need to see this movie. But at the same time, it certainly seems like they're putting the effort in on it to where it should be something. It could be something worthwhile. It could be fun. I'm a little confused in the trailer if that's supposed to be the Peter Parker we know and love, or if that's a different Peter Parker entirely. I'm just not sure.
It's just another universe. I mean, one where Spider-Gwen exists, and so it's just to figure it's another universe. So
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how they're planning on explaining it, but I have no problem with it. It seems like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looks good, and it looks like a good idea, a good way to keep Spider-Man alive in between, like every movie, every 2 or 3 years. You get to see Tom Holland as Peter Parker, and it's a different way to keep Spider-Man, obviously one of the most popular Marvel characters, if not one of the most popular superheroes in our time, in the limelight. I like this. The animation looked good. I think it looks good. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything else of note?
Ivan wasn't here last week. We talked about the Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet trailer.
Yeah. Did you see that one, Ivan, or no?
I've only seen like ads, but I've never actually seen a trailer. And I'm intrigued.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff going around. I really kind of wish they had saved the princess scene.
Yeah.
I feel like now you gave away the farm.
Okay. Now, and and speaking of Pixar, and Disney and that, also your feelings on the rushes I did see on Incredibles 2.
Coming Friday.
Yeah, which I'm going to see it on. I'm going to see it on the 19th. I'm going to go see it then.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to be something I catch right away. I think that may be something that might be a little bit on the delayed side.
It looks like that's right where they left it off at the end of the first movie, where they're fighting the Underminer.
Right. That's exactly where they're leaving it off.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that they're leaning more on Elastigirl and not as much, and not as much on the other characters, and the fact that Jack also seems to be the keystone in this movie, and so those are the two elements that pretty much turns that whole story around, because now we've got the superhero as the stay-at-home dad, Mr. Incredible, and of course your elements with Irma, coming in, Edna.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'm just the thing that I keep thinking about is, why did they wait 10 years, to come up with a sequel? I mean,
10, try 14.
Pardon me?
14.
Has it been 14 years?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Look at the gulf of time between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3.
Oh, yeah, that's true too.
That's what I wanted to mention. Did anybody catch that Michael J. Fox made an announcement that there's going to be a new Back to the Future movie?
I've heard that's kind of bashed in scrutiny. Some people are saying that's just fake news. Some people are saying that there might be some legitimacy to it. There's a big thing happening around that.
I don't know. But I saw that, and I was
It was right on his birthday, Michael J. Fox. When he's, 56 years old now?
Yeah.
Is he really? Wow.
Yeah. where he posted a picture of him, Christopher Lloyd, and Leah Thompson.
Right.
And he posted that, hey, guess what? We started filming Back to the Future 4.
But there were some people that kind of noticed the spelling on that particular posting, and some people are calling bullshit on it. That's a fake news article that's being put out there just for shits and grins. So I don't know. What's the site where they call the bunk out on some of these things?
Okay, there's an article here on MovieWeb saying it's not happening.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably not ever, but at least not right now.
Hey, guess what? That's too bad. They should reboot that though. They really should. That's kind of silly. Why not reboot it?
No, don't reboot it. Just to have it a passing of the torch.
Yes. Well, that's what I mean by reboot.
Do it while Christopher Lloyd, God save him. Please protect Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah. Well.
While he's still alive. Please.
I think there's a few more people we can put on the list before Christopher Lloyd, I think. I mean, Betty White's still alive, thank God. That's all that matters, really.
Well, yeah. So. But I mean, Back to the Future 4, what more can you do with it?
Well,
really, think about it.
Mike said
time travel, you can do everything.
Yeah, with Mike.
Yeah, okay, all right. Now, I want to play armchair director for a minute. Now, if you had the vehicle of making Back to the Future 4, where would you go with it?
Marty's kid.
Yeah, you know what? I would do something along the lines of, maybe Marty's dead, or the professor's dead, and there's a whole warehouse of stuff that you've inherited, and we find this car, and you don't know what it is. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'll drive the car, we'll see what happens, and you get it up to 88 miles per hour, and hey, guess what? I mean, that's the only other thing I can come up with.
And make it like a Back to the Future 2, kind of like a twist and turns at every minute kind of adventure, where you don't know what's going to happen next, I think.
Maybe. I mean, I don't.
I think that'd be good.
Here I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I like the idea of, Marty McFly's son, okay? All right? Marty McFly, his dad passes on in his will. And in his will, okay, my son, there is a warehouse, okay? And in this warehouse, there will be things that I have left a ledger there. And in this ledger states what everything is in this warehouse and what everything does. Well, being distraught at the fact that Marty McFly's son, okay, the father passed on, what makes you think that Marty McFly doesn't want to go back and see what his father was back in his day and actually kind of go on this, looky-loo tour of, oh, man, that was my dad? I mean, all those stories.
Given how much time has passed, it wouldn't even be, at this point, you'd almost have to go Marty McFly's grandson or granddaughter.
Oh, okay. All right.
If you're really thinking about this, he already had, at some point he has kids in the set. In the second movie, he's got kids when he's older, so really in reality, depending on timing, you're probably talking about grandkids if you really wanted to do this angle.
Well, okay. Well, then let's go there. I mean, and amongst all of the things that are in this warehouse, all these old pictures and all of these old mementos and all of these clippings and whatever, and it's just like, wouldn't it be nice to go back to the time and see what my dad and my granddad were all about?
I honestly, Ivan, I go a different direction with it, which is, I wouldn't tell, it would be one of these things where there was this warehouse, they didn't leave any information or anything. There's this car here, the kid doesn't have a car, he's in his teens, he's using the car, it looks fugly, he decides to get into some sort of wacky street drag racing, he gets up to 88 miles an hour, and the next thing you know, God knows where he is.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I like that. That's good.
Yeah, where it's kind of like, he gets into some sort of street race and pop, disappeared. And kind
of that meeting up with the Fast and Furious, huh?
Yeah, kind of. Well, yeah, I guess you could go that way.
He runs into Vin Diesel.
Yeah. Family. Except for The Rock. The Rock is not his family. Yeah. Somebody's got to make that fight. Somebody's got to make that happen. Why can't we get like a Vin Diesel?
Why can't we get a big budget and make this ourselves, right?
No, not. I mean, for real, they don't like each other.
Who?
Vin Diesel and The Rock.
Why is there a hatred there? Is there something we need to know about this?
I can't remember. It has something to do with having to do the Fast series, and I think there's something having to do with they want to spin the Rock's character off, but they wanted to do one more Fast and Furious movie.
Right.
And he was like, no, we're gonna do my spin-off movie. I think that had something to do with it. And so people got mad or annoyed or something. I don't know.
Well, okay, now as far as the last Fast and Furious movie from that one actor that ended up getting into the accident, and then they used, I don't know, tell me if I'm incorrect. They used like different holographic images of him on the film to finish the movie.
I think they used unused footage of Paul Walker, and they added it to the next one to help bookend it. As to why, but
so wouldn't that have made that a conclusion? So how does Vin Diesel and The Rock work in this? I don't know.
I have zero information and knowledge and interest in the Fast and the Furious movies.
Well, no, but it was just a point of interest for a second.
Sure.
No.
Speaking of movies that are exactly the same, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Why?
Well, because it's good, because it makes boatloads of money internationally.
Why are we doing the Austin Powers style franchise killing of yet another movie thing?
Really? I have a theory on this. I have this strange feeling that they're about to do something in this movie that is incredibly stupid.
Well, yeah.
It's
stupid, all right. It's already stupid that they're going into yet another movie.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, you've got that. I mean, at the end of the day, isn't Jurassic Park basically the entire theme of the Jurassic Park is let's do something fucking stupid.
Well,
Seriously. Hey, let's create dinosaurs and let's allow the public to go view them. What? Why? Who would like a zoo? How's that going to go well? No.
Not when you got people that are busy hacking computers, walking around with DNA capsules and getting them lost and having them hit the water and letting all of these mad, mean, nasty animals out, without supervision. And then, and besides, in the last movie, wasn't that whole thing destroyed anyway?
Well, I think that's where the premise comes in, Ivan, is that supposedly they all escape, everybody gets off the island, but my understanding is that the island is volcanic and they have to save this is for posterity and to save them, but I'm getting the impression that like these dinosaurs are about to essentially repopulate the planet and not just an island. That just from some of the clips that I've seen, where like there's the one guy surfing and there's the big, huge, giant dinosaur in the wave, like behind him, and I'm like, they're really not going to basically make it where dinosaurs is basically are all over the planet now, and basically they're populating the planet, and now you're going to have a scenario where you do have humans and dinosaurs together. It makes sense on where you.
I can't see a dinosaur coming up from a wave, swallowing up the surfer, and him yelling from inside of his mouth, "I'm okay! I'm still okay!"
Well, they didn't even get that far, but...
Get out of here.
And the only thing I can think of is the only reason it's the only thing I can think of because they're already talking about they've mapped out another sequel, I think.
Oh, my
on top of this one. So it's like, what do I don't know. Jurassic Park to me is essentially
a waste of celluloid.
No, it's you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of white people in the horror film.
Yeah.
What?
It's like that Eddie Murphy skit where if Poltergeist took place, all the white people are like, well, that's peculiar, and most everybody be like, let's get out of here.
Yeah. It's like that scene in Scary Movie where it's like, get out, and all the black people leave. And they'll get out there.
But all the stupid white people are like, hey, we need to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, worse. Let's split up and take a look around.
Oh, yeah, just like Scooby-Doo, sure.
Yeah. It's like, you know, and on behalf of white people, I have to tell you, we are not that stupid. Some of us are not that stupid.
According to the movies, that's not true.
Well, yeah. Apparently, we opened a theme park full of dinosaurs because that was gonna go well.
Boy, whose pipe dream out of that pen came that, huh?
Yeah, seriously, it's like, what did they do? Did they get? I mean, seriously, I understand it's a movie, but you know, why don't we get the scenes about how that happened? Where's the scene where there's a bunch of guys like sitting around in a room, and where's the one guy going? You guys are a whole bunch of fucking morons. Are you crazy? People are gonna die. Didn't you?
That's because they're all too busy smoking and not even looking at the reality of it, you know?
It's like, dude, that
just...
I mean... Life finds a way.
What a statement.
Finds a way. By the way, let's talk about it for a second. For somebody who doesn't want to be involved, how come he's in all these movies? How come he keeps going back? Because he's in this movie too, Jeff Goldblum's character.
But I don't think he's on the island, though.
I don't know.
Like he's testifying, I think, to like a court or something about why these animals should be protected or exterminated or whatever reason. That's what it looks like to me from the trailer.
You know, now that I'm thinking about this even more, this does make sense. This whole thing makes sense because people are just enamored with animals that should not be pets. They really are. I mean, we're all three of us on Facebook every day. It's like, oh, I have a fox. Why do you have a fox as a pet? Why? Or it's like raccoons. I'm sorry, maybe it's just me. Raccoons are the meanest things alive. And possum, not much better. And I see memes all the time about why it's great to have possums and how wonderful. And I'm like, what are you, crazy? You are nuts.
last raccoon I ever encountered wanted to take off my fingers.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, the last time I ran into a raccoon, the damn thing was enough where it basically like I got a flat tire. Mm-hmm. Little bugger was that big.
Well, they did a parody skit where Chris Pratt was trying to put a support dinosaur on the plane. And the guy's like, no.
Wait a minute, wasn't there another person trying to get another type of support animal on the plane?
Yeah,
what was that?
Crazy thing. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, there was a story where the airline denied the access to a support peacock.
Was that what it was?
There it is.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Yes. We all need our support peacock.
Yeah,
Innuendo.
Peacock, like I need a hole in my head.
Okay.
I don't know. I just don't.
No, I saw the first Jurassic World in the theater, and of course I saw the first Jurassic Park. That was in 1993, I think it was. Was the first Jurassic Park? But anyway, no, I don't need to see this.
I'll see it on. I think I'll see it on. If I've got like a freebie or I've got something inexpensive, like I just finally upgraded on the Stubbs card. So I can do the $5 on Tuesdays. So maybe for $5 I'd be willing to go see the movie. The irony is, by the time I get done spending for popcorn and drinks, I might as well just wait until I was home. But yeah. There's some There's some other news from DC today, DC Comics.
Yeah, I saw the headline for that.
There's a couple of things. First of all, their streaming service, DC Universe, is going to launch in August. And they haven't talked about dollars yet for this. And they haven't really talked enough about all the content involved. They have announced 4 shows that they have in development that are actual shows. They have a couple of different cartoons they have in development that are new series. The biggest thing that's interesting is, and we talked about, I actually mentioned this at one of the previous pods, is that there will be a comics component to it. So if you buy the DC Universe package, apparently you'll get access to comics. Now, I don't know if it's the latest or if it's archives or what it is yet, but depending on what that is and what the price point is, and what other DC-related cartoons or movies or TV is available, honestly, guys, this might be a better deal than I thought it would be.
Well, I presume the new comics will be archived because they don't want to detract from people buying the Lucy's and the download-paying people.
Maybe, but here's the thing: if you've got people who are paying every month for content, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like I said, I'm curious to see what they didn't give real details on what the plan is exactly in terms of what comics are available. Again, okay. I don't know what movies are available, like other movies. Like I'm assuming some of the direct-to-video DC cartoon movies are available. I don't know if some of the DC cartoons are available. Again, who knows? Do we get access to the Linda Carter Wonder Woman? Do we get Smallville? I don't know. That's not clear. No. And I think that those are things where, depending, when you combine that with the comics, I'm like, yeah, okay, now I see how they could get people to maybe buy this. So.
Well, until we get more news, then we can just speculate. So.
Well, let me ask you this: what would you pay to get access to something like that?
Well, to all the DC films and TV shows?
Yeah, depending on what they gave us, yeah. Plus new content.
You know, maybe $8 to $10 a month. I don't know.
Okay. What about you?
As long as I get to Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, then I'll be all right then.
Yeah.
As long as I get to see Superman fight Nuclear Man on the moon, then we'll be all right.
Yeah, I would say $10 to $15.
Okay. I was just curious. I think, I think $9.99 probably is the right number, but I have a feeling that means that it's not going to be new content it's going to be not current year content for the book, for the comics, which I think might be okay for some of us.
Well, you know how many DC titles come out every month?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that anything on the comic side is going to be archives, like older stuff.
Right. Well, like I said, the question is how far back. Like Marvel has something now with their digital, and I don't know all the details to it. What it is, where it's pretty much everything, but they have a cutoff. And I don't know where the cutoff is, but really in reality, friends of mine who have it are like, Jeff, really in reality, if you want to like catch up and read stuff because you're way behind, it's really a phenomenal deal. My biggest headache is I still like having a book in my hands. I still like having the paper in my hands. I still like having that feel and having it where I can do that versus, okay, I got to scroll.
I agree.
Right.
That's generational. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned. I meant to mention that to you. I put out on my page, on my personal page, worst superhero movie ever. Quest for Peace was one of them.
Yeah.
I was
bad in a great way. And there's bad in a bad way.
The Roger Corman Fantastic Four got mentioned a lot.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to remember what else. I have to see if I can find that. Maybe we need to do that one again. But yeah, I was surprised. I did not get any real mentions for Superman, Batman, or the Green Lantern movie, which was surprising. There apparently were a lot more worse movies in people's opinions. So.
I saw a tweet earlier this week about one guy complaining about people complaining about the glut of superhero movies.
Yeah, we're back to that again, aren't we?
Yeah. The guy said, listen, in 1950, Hollywood literally released 158 Westerns.
Yeah.
That's more than 13 a month, and 20 of those Westerns were specifically of the singing cowboy subgenre. So stop acting like you're uniquely affronted by superhero movies' existence.
Well, check this out. Okay, not to mention that 3/4 of television in the 1950s were a majority of Westerns.
Yep.
Cowboy movies. From Cheyenne to the Rifleman to Bat Masterson, and I could go on and on and on. Yeah, in fact, RCA even celebrated all of the Westerns by releasing a 20/45 with picture sleeve set of every Western theme song ever recorded from all those television shows. Yep.
Wow.
Which, by the way, if you have any of them, they're worth big money now.
Are they really? I would imagine.
I like Chuck Connors and the Rifleman.
Yeah, and of course, even then, speaking of singing cowboy, I mean, the kid that was on the Rifleman himself. Jeez, I forgot his name.
We're in the forgot his name mode.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he released a number of 45s. One was called Cindy's Birthday. It was a big hit in 1962. And he was on, the kid, the son, Chuck Connor's son was the one that played that played in the Rifleman.
That guy.
He was kind of a heartthrob for a while. I want to say Crawford.
David Cassidy?
No. Crawford was his last name. I can't think of his first name though.
Oh, Justin Timberlake?
Huh?
Justin Timberlake?
Johnny Crawford.
Johnny Crawford. Yes, there you go.
Oh.
There you go. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, Johnny Crawford. He had 4 top 10 45s while making the Rifleman.
Well, that got surpassed by what? The Simpsons, right? Is that is the longest running show now?
Let me see. Well, the longest running animated that's been staying in production, the longest, Scooby-Doo. Go ahead, Google it.
Well, there have been several reincarnations, but it's not the longest running single series.
Yeah. No, it's not the longest running single series, but it is the most produced cartoon ever. I mean, it's been in production in some way, shape, or form since 1969.
I thought it was 71.
69 is when it started. 1969. Scooby-Doo, where are you? First season was in 69.
There we go. Longest running scripted U.S. primetime television series. Okay.
Well, The Simpsons.
Okay, so we think Simpsons is 1, right?
Right.
Okay. Who do we think is 2?
Wow.
Prime time, though.
Prime time.
The Flintstones?
No.
Well, the Flintstones were primetime once upon a time. So was the Jetsons. And Top Cat.
Right. Don't think animated.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm kind of guessed out, actually.
Mike, any guess?
Longest running primetime series.
Simpsons is 1. Ironically, really only recently passed this show. in terms of number of actual episodes, even though it was 9 seasons shorter?
Nope, don't know.
Gunsmoke.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. A Western.
Gunsmoke is 630. Simpsons is 639. Gunsmoke is 635.
Dang.
Wow.
Here's the scary part. Gunsmoke did that in 20 seasons. Simpsons did it in 29. Now, in fairness, no, because Simpsons half hours would actually, even with Simpsons half hours, it's impressive.
Right.
That just means that seasons were longer. All right. So, what do you think's next?
Wow.
In prime time.
Not as hard as you guys are making it out.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Rogers?
No.
That's not prime time.
Prime time, Ivan.
Okay, sorry.
Let me see if I can give you a hint. If you turn on the TV, I'm telling you, if you have cable, at some point you will.
Law and Order.
Law and Order, yes. Law and Order is third right now.
Glong.
Yeah, Glong is third.
Well, I mean, look at how many series that thing spawned off on its own.
Well, okay, so you know what's crazy? Go watch Law and Order, and go watch who some of the people are who show up on Law and Order. That you're sitting there going like, Hayden Panettiere is there as like a small girl, like an 8 or 12-year-old girl. Like there's some crazy ass people who are on like Law and Order from those back in the days that you look at it and you're like, okay, that's like a major star now, but back then they weren't.
Yeah, a lot of Sopranos alum made it to Law and Order back in the day.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who. You know
the thing that blows my mind is here it is. You know, if you didn't know if you didn't know about Mariska Hargitay's previous life and her mom being, you know, Jane Mansfield, which that blew my mind when I found that out.
Mm-hmm. By the way, that's the next. By the way, it looks like that's gonna. It's funny. SVU is going to tie. Law and Order. They're at 19, and at present. At present, they currently have another season, at least a couple more seasons coming, and they are already at 19. It's interesting. The series that follow it, of the next three, 3 of them are current. So the top 4 are Simpsons, Gunsmoke, Law and Order SVU. Number 5 is Lassie. Number 6 is Family Guy. Number 7 is NCIS. So there you go.
It's okay. So that's the one part of DC news we talked about. What about the other part of the DC news?
Oh, you want to go there, huh? You're done.
I think we're about longest running TV shows. I'm like,
yeah, you're no fun.
Nah, I know.
You could have picked anything. You could have thrown out crazy names and I'd have gone with you.
Crazy names.
Yeah.
How about TV shows? Long running TV shows.
Like Briscoe County Jr. I don't think so. But
a lot of these shows like prime time. I mean, what do you count like cable now?
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, that's a good question.
So much content now.
Yeah,
so much content, but how much of it is good content?
More than you think.
Yeah.
What? What do you mean, what do I think?
I said more than you think. I think this is a golden age for television. I really do. There's so much stuff out there now.
I don't know about that. I mean, okay, given the fact that, you know, television was a no man's land for a little while.
What?
Given the fact that television for a little while was a no man's land, yeah, I said that. Why I say that? Because,
Murphy Brown?
Okay, well, no, not even Murphy Brown. Dog, the bounty hunter. you know,
for every
and
bounty hunter,
Big Brother, you know, The Bachelor.
Okay, but that goes back to, see, here's the thing. You're looking at stuff like Dog the Bounty. By the way, Dog the Bounty Hunter, when you're bored out of your mind, sometimes fun.
With the sound turned off.
No, not with the sound turned off. It's kind of funny. It's like that show. There's all kinds of weird shows like that. Like the one with the towing company out in North Carolina.
Oh, I know which one. Operation something.
It was Operation. I can't remember the name. There was some crazy show about.
It was like
it was about these guys who used to go out and get out all these people with their delinquent payments. So they
Repo
sit there and sit there and tow them away, and they were getting all of this drama.
Yeah.
While trying to tow out these cars, people hanging onto their hoods and jumping into cars, and people coming out with baseball bats and guns and all that other stuff.
Yeah. There's a couple of them like that. Like there's another one where it's like there was one where they were like in like Miami, and some woman was like a martial artist expert and beat the crap out of one of the guys. It was like hysterical.
I like the one where they actually went down to Mexico past the border, and they ended up getting in trouble for trying to tow a car past the border, and they ended up getting arrested.
See, Ivan, there is something for everyone in this day.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the point, Ivan. Is like, for every one of those shows, there's a Breaking Bad, there's a Walking Dead.
I don't mind Walking Dead, and I don't mind Breaking Bad, but I guess all right. Given, like I said, for a while it was a wasteland, in television world. I mean, for every one good show, there were like 10 or 12 lousy shows.
Well, but that's the point. Keep in mind, you're for every one good show, there are 12 lousy shows. But keep in mind, how many channels are there now?
Thousands.
Yeah, especially with the internet now. I mean, it's like there's stuff I haven't even seen because I'm not willing to pay for it.
Well, neither am I. In fact, I don't even have cable. I don't have cable. I got the free television. I got the magic stick behind my flat screen, my smart television, and all the numbers that keep repeating, and I get the same, 15 channels.
Isn't that supposed to give you more channels?
Huh?
Isn't that?
That's just bullshit. They tell you that because it's a selling point. Not really.
Yesterday was our game night, and a friend of mine wanted to borrow my copy of Black Panther because he hadn't seen it. So I brought the disc over, and he's like, "Oh, I don't have a Blu-ray player." I was like, "What?" This is the space year 2018. And he still has a standard DVD disc player.
I don't think
I can't laugh because guess what? I have a combo unit. What is my combo unit?
Yeah.
A VHS and a DVD.
I still have one too.
I got one somewhere in the house.
Yeah, I still play my VHSs. No shame in my game. I still play them. In fact, I got the Star Wars trilogy before they did all the crazy special effects to the movies.
Before Greedo shot first.
Huh?
Before Greedo shot first.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have this. They're sitting right here. Right here. I pulled them from the store. I couldn't believe I found it. I mean, Lord knows I could go ahead and transfer these to the DVD and make a mint, but no, I don't do that kind of thing.
Fans took a...
It's just not worth it like it used to be. Like when you couldn't get a copy of Heavy Metal, and the only way you could get a copy of Heavy Metal was Cinemax would run it because they were the only ones who had rights to it. So everybody would tape it, and people could sell. If you taped it, and you had more than one tape, and you had a copy, and you could run multiple copies, you could sell those things for like $20-$30 a pop.
Oh yeah, well, my brother, not to put him out there, he was involved with some type of, copy house for a while.
Oh.
And he used to get these thing called streamers.
Yar.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the frown that I gave him. I said, you ain't bringing those here.
Yar, no pirating, matey.
Yes, a pirate booty.
Nope.
Like, no, I don't think so.
Now, Ivan, you live in the city. I bet you've seen something like this happen, where you go and see a movie and somebody is recording it. Have you seen that happen?
Yeah, on their phones.
Well, not just on the phone. I mean, like, people have, like, an elaborate, like, setup, like a tripod or something.
Most of them, what they'll do is they go to, like, the theaters where they're, like, the balconies where, most of the balconies nowadays are roped off. So they'll go up there to the balconies where there's, like, nobody.
Right.
And then they'll go ahead and they'll zoom in onto the big screen and do all of these bootleg, DVDs, which 9 times out of 10 are crummy because 1, the resolution off the screen is lousy, or 2, the sound is so distorted it sounds terrible, or 3, if you got the occasional person walking across or making noises, or and of course you get the laughter or whatever was going on at the time the movie's being made.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's crazy. The streamers, on the other hand, are just totally. I mean, they're clean and they look great, but they got the subtitles in different languages.
Yeah.
And or if you're lucky enough to not get the ones with the different languages, you get the ones with the strange subtitle, the strange end titles or beginning titles or something, or alternate musical intros or whatever. Oh no. There's still some people that still walk in with the little mini cameras and still try to boot them off the screen and stuff like that.
Right,
I don't think they do that as much now.
No, especially with the big theater chains, they got cameras watching the people with night vision goggles or something, so they can see if you've got a camera set up and you're recording.
Well, and then a lot of them now, what they'll do is they'll put a large memory card in their phones and they'll just do it off their phones. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can plug in external hard drives to phones now and external batteries or whatever to get a full 2.5 hour film.
Well, you can go ahead and you can USB out from your phone. I mean, because
right.
If I could sit there and Facebook Live an entire set, 5-hour set from my phone, and if you get a 32 gig card in your phone, which I have one. You could get a whole movie and not blink an eye. I mean, there are ways around it, but why am I going to go ahead and go into the shitter for something stupid like that? I mean, no, that's not my idea of a good time. Trust me.
Yeah. But some people just be broke.
Huh?
Yeah. Some people just be broke and they don't want to pay the $30 for the Blu-ray when it comes out.
Well, some people just can't wait.
True. They don't want to wait for the official release. They want to watch the movie like a month or two before the DVD comes out.
Right, because we become a society of I want it and I want it now.
Yeah.
I want to go ahead.
The other part too is keep in mind. I mean, like for example, when we, for years, the Academy would send out screeners during the Academy Awards time. And so, those movies, really in reality, the only way they would get around is if you had a way, if you copied them and gave them over to friends as bootleg. Now, with having an internet and everybody is so interconnected, if you're getting screeners from the Academy Awards, I mean, how often do we find full-length Academy Award nominees online? Where it's like, where literally the crawl is, this is a screening copy. I mean that's happening. So.
Yep. Well, yeah, that's true. No, you're right. So.
And that way they're good quality.
Yeah.
So it comes right down to this. Have we learned any lessons from this pirating situation? No. There's as long as something can be lifted, somebody's going to lift it.
Yep.
I mean, it's done since the beginning of recorded technology. I mean, it all started with Edison. You know what I mean?
Was Edison in the theater, like bootlegging Charlie Chaplin talkies?
No, you had companies that, okay, Edison would patent the technology of cylinders, and you had people going in there, going around stealing the patent ideas and trying to come up with their own cylinders and things like that, and bootleg cylinders everywhere. Yeah, it's been happening since the beginning of recording. I mean, there are performances out there. If you go to the University of California, Berkeley Center, they've got that. They got that restoration technology now. I mean, they're finding cylinders of presidents speaking, cylinders of dirty stories coming up out of the woodwork. I mean, it's again, the bootlegging thing has been happening since the beginning of recorded media, and bootleg pressings and dubs and whatever. It's been happening since the beginning. I mean, if it can be lifted, somebody's going to lift it. So it's like the old saying, if you be careful what's in your house. If something's not nailed down, it's gone. So
yeah.
I mean, it's a sad state of affairs. I mean, look at third party. Okay.
Third party what?
With toys,
Oh yeah, they're unlicensed. Yeah, third party IP infringing stuff. Yeah.
There you go. So here the Lando that you might think you might have on the card might not be the real Lando.
It's KO. Yeah, KOs and repros and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't need you. I made it on my 3D printer back home. Yeehaw.
Yeah, 3D printers are fascinating though. We had one at the record shop where we were making our own 45 centers.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing little machine. I mean, we came up with our own designs. I mean, we had 45 centers that had dragons on them, cone heads, different pictorials. We had some that said Electric Jungle on them. They're pretty amazing little 45 centers,
Just getting closer and closer to replicators. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, floss is only $15, and one roll of floss you can knock off about maybe several hundred little 45 centers. And yeah, I mean, a bet that you only make one at a time, and it takes like about maybe 15 to 20 minutes per piece. So it's still a slow process, but yeah, I mean, but it's individualistic. I got a pair of 45 centers that look like donuts.
Sweet. Literally. see the pun I did there?
Yeah, I heard that. Good.
So, I did want to get back to something Mike kind of teased, but we forgot. We kind of walked away from it.
What's that?
There was some other big DC Comics news. There's been some shifts recently with them in the last week or two. One of them, I'll start kind of just to kind of give some background. Greg Berlanti, who is doing Supergirl and Riverdale and a lot of those other shows, and is starting to branch out to some of the other networks, some of his shows, was locked up by Warner Brothers for a pretty large, substantial contract. Also, last week, the president of DC Entertainment, Diane Nelson, stepped away, and she's no longer. And my understanding is that the United States Justice Department is supposed to rule any time now on the merger between Warner Brothers and AT&T. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And the reason all this is interesting is because of an announcement that was made today, which is that Jeff Johns, who has essentially been one of the largest creative forces behind DC Comics for probably the last, easily 20 years, is no longer going to be the chief creative officer for DC Comics. Instead, Warner's is essentially giving him his own deal. And to give you an idea, he's launching what's called Mad Ghost Productions, a new banner that will see him work on content for films, television, and comic books, and have his hand in current DC properties, as well as new and reimagined creations.
So it's new IP. It's not DC at all.
Well, no, it sounds... Well, see, this is where it's confusing. Is that it sounds like... Here, I want to kind of pull this up a little bit. Based on what I'm hearing, he's still going to be involved in the television side of DC, and we'll get to what he's doing with movies first, because I'm having a hard time at the moment trying to figure out what he planned. There was something here about what he's planning on doing with comics, and I can't find it at the moment. But, like, for example, projects that he's working on for the movies already is he's in the process of writing and producing Wonder Woman #2, as well as, and this was kind of a bigger announcement, which is, and apparently this must be greenlit because it's one of his first projects, is there's going to be a Green Lantern Corps movie in which, Johns has written a lot on the Green Lanterns in the last 9 years. So, and there's a little bit more news on that, and the fact that the characters that it's going to be built around are going to be Hal Jordan and John Stewart. So it'll be the two of them, and it'll be more about kind of like the space cops that is the Green Lantern Corps. And so really, based on his knowledge of that, I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, I'm in.
And in terms of the comics, here it is. On the publishing side, Johns will write and curate a DC pop-up label under the moniker of the Killing Zone, focusing on new and lesser-known or dormant DC characters and titles. He will also write a new Shazam comic series scheduled to hit this fall, as well as the comic titled Three Jokers, drawn by Jason Fabok. The latter was a project that was sidelined as John's time was taken up by being with executive and screen commitments. And I've heard stories about that where literally Johns was in the middle of meetings and having to take phone calls about other things where literally he had to be in the process of doing this. This will free him up to give him more time to work on creative aspects. And really, in reality, for Warner Brothers, that's what you want. You want this guy, as much as you wanted him for your creative vision for DC, the truth is you need content producers, especially with this new DC Universe thing that you're putting out there. You need a guy who can create good content. And this is kind of where this deal goes, in my opinion.
Now, it seems like a smart move.
Yeah. Here's the interesting part about this deal. This results in there being a new creative chief officer at DC Comics, and that would be Jim Lee.
Jim Lee?
Yeah. Jim Lee is a phenomenal artist. I love him to death. But Jim Lee has had some... Jim Lee was kind of involved in the debacle known as the New 52, in which he was redesigning many of the DC heroes and complete with everybody seeming to have some sort of collar on their uniform at one point, or their superhero outfit, and it looked very 90s when we're easily in the 2000s. Again, Jim Lee definitely has definitely creative. I just don't know. I haven't, when you combine him with Dan DiDio, who's been around forever, I'm just not, I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned because I don't know if that's, things are going well right now with DC Comics in terms of what they're doing and where they're going, but
in the books, yeah.
I don't like, but some of the times where things have not gone so well have been when Dan DiDio has been allowed to do what Dan DiDio wants. And Jim Lee, I just don't know that I've seen anything from Jim Lee in terms of in terms of actual pushing of a direction in the comic book universe of DC that's really impressed me. Other than he's a phenomenal artist. I mean, the truth is, they bought Wildstorm, and they bought Wildstorm partially for Jim Lee, partially for some of the characters, and a lot of the Wildstorm characters just have never developed, and it's never been. A lot of those characters have never gone anywhere, and it's sad because there's some really great characters in there, but I don't know, it just hasn't really materialized.
Well, time will tell.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure this Shazam comic will be phenomenal.
Yeah, you'll see a bigger push for DC to help prop up the Shazam movie coming in February, March next year.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting timing because people can sometimes he's been called Captain Marvel. Well, great. There's a Captain Marvel movie coming out around the same time, so. For some people, I think people are going to get confused, and it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like I said, it's congratulations to Geoff Johns. It's I think in the long run, it's good for us as fans. I'm just not sure where the overall creative direction goes. If I'm a betting man and I'm crossing my fingers for something. I'm rooting that that within the next year or two, maybe things are being handled more by Brian Bendis. That's just me. But but then again, I'm hearing my understanding is Bendis is going to get his own imprint too. So maybe not. Maybe that's. Actually, based on what I'm looking at here, that could be the most interesting part of all this, which is it looks like Johns is going to kind of be able to do whatever he wants in terms of comics, and it sounds like Bendis is going to be able to do an expanded role in terms of what he wants to do with his imprint. And really, in reality, it just may be an opportunity to expand DC Comics. And when I say DC Comics, you've got DC, you've got Vertigo. Maybe this is an opportunity to give more segmentation versus where Marvel, at the end of the day, it's just Marvel. Marvel has Marvel. DC, you've got the Vertigo books. The Vertigo books add an entirely different dimension to them. And maybe that's what they're looking to do with Johns and Bendis. I don't know. But yeah, that's I guess that's all I got, unless anybody else has got anything.
No, DC is getting their act together.
I hope so. I mean, Mike, you made the comment earlier. It's funny. There's a quote again from the head of Fox right now, making some sort of comment about the glutton of superhero type movies and these types of movies, and I'm like. Didn't you just put out Deadpool?
Yeah.
To which they justify it, but
I think we've had more. I'm getting an echo. I think we've had more bad X-Men movies than good X-Men movies. So.
Now, I think at the end of the day, I think the problem.
And was there any really good Green Lantern movies?
No.
You mean the one? Green Lantern movie?
Well, hopefully Geoff Johns is going to change that.
Yeah. Let's hope so, because everything I've ever heard on Green Lantern motion pictures, I'm just like, man.
Yeah, just that one.
One.
It was just the one, Ivan.
There's only been one, Ivan.
No, there have been a few.
No, there's really only been one.
Okay, I'd Google it if I were you.
Ivan, what do you want to bet about Green Lantern movies?
Well, I'm saying that in the last, let's say, 15 or 20 years, there had to have been more than one Green Lantern movie.
No, there's not.
Okay.
Just one, Ivan.
Okay.
What do you want to bet, Ivan?
I'm not betting.
Because he knows.
No, I don't know. I might be wrong, okay? But I thought there was more movies made. I thought there were like animated movies made. There were regular movies made.
Oh, you're not. We're talking about regular. We're not talking about.
Oh, well, regular movies. Oh, if you're going there, well then.
Theater released motion pictures.
Okay, well then, yeah, one.
Okay.
Fine.
Tickets are not up yet for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
No. Hold on a second. Let's see.
I'm checking my Fandango app.
You ready? Okay. Animated Green Lantern films. Unless you're including movies like some of the Justice League movies, there's been only 2 animated Green Lantern movies.
Okay.
2 individual animated Green Lantern movies. So, and I know that, okay, and there was the cartoon show after the Green Lantern movie came out, and that was not well received.
I think they're doing the right thing with making the movie about the Corps, not just Hal or Guy or
wasn't the last
John.
one Corps? I mean, they did show the Corps in it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it was just about Hal, primarily, and Parallax, the yellow cloud in the space.
Yeah, they did a horrible job with Parallax. They did a horrible job with Parallax. The fact that Big Bang Theory still makes fun of them and still makes jokes about that movie now. And by the way, owned by the same company, yet still making jokes about that movie. Oof.
Okay.
Look at it.
So Ivan, what are you up to this week?
What am I up to this week? Well, this week, my friend Dijon Holiday, he's going to be doing the Superhero of Soul on Wednesday over at Logan Arcade from 9 till 2. Let's see. While he's doing that this Wednesday night, I will be at Cafe Mustache. I will be hosting a jazz showcase, and including a couple of great jazz musicians that are going to be playing. And then my friend Drew and I are going to DJ afterwards, and we're going to do a thing called the Jazz Suite, which we're going to be featuring all manner of jazz music for the late night hours, probably from 11 till 2. Then the following week is my Out of the Satchel series over at Logan Arcade from 9 to 2, and I'll be featuring late 70s, 80s, and early 90s 45s, rock and dance 45, so that's a little bit a different situation than I usually spin for that particular, because it kind of ties in with Heavy Metal Tuesday, which has been happening over at the arcade as of late. And we also have plans for Noir Night in August over at Cafe Mustache, which we will be doing a kind of a throwback to like old black and white motion pictures, where, best costume, best dress, and be featuring the music of the era and such, and even complete with a chorus line. So that's still tentatively in the works. That's being worked on right now. Then we also have the John Forbes Blues Jam at Cafe Mustache, which will be the last Tuesday of the month from 9 till 2. If you got an instrument you can play, guitar, drums, bass, whatever.
Triangle.
We provide what? Triangle, harmonica, saxophone. We've had various different instruments come through on that particular night. I play the drums on that night, which that's always a good time. I enjoy that quite a bit. And so it's just a nice little free jam. And then after the John Forbes Blues Jam at Cafe Mustache, then we do the show. I do the Blues Jam right afterwards. I play Blues 45s till 2 a.m. after the jam is over. Also, I believe that we have a pop-up at Logan Arcade from Logan Hardware Records on the 27th of June, and I already got lineup of great disc jockeys that are going to be performing on that night for the 27th. So far, I have I'll be opening from 8 to 9. St. Stephen's will be doing 9 to 10. Dr. Dust will be doing 10 to 11. Sabian I Play Records will be Mr. I Play Records will be on from 11 to 12. I'm still working on 12 to 1 and 1 to 2 currently, so that's in the works, and that'll be happening on the 27th of June over at Logan Arcade, 2410 West Fullerton. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing as far as like spinning records is concerned. Also, I got several posters that I'm going to be making up exclusively for the Caravan of Sounds, which features some of my characters. So I'm hoping to get those ready to roll by the end of the week, which will be made exclusively for all the people that are going to be performing for the Caravan of Sounds on the 27th, and will be available, to for whoever wants them, making copies of them. Because I've been doing that a lot more lately, been doing a lot of art, to promote our shows at the arcade and such. Let's see. And then Johnny Gibe and I were currently working on a residency in Highwood. That's still in the works, so I might be coming up north a little bit more often every month, very shortly, if that, takes place. Yeah, I think that's pretty much where I'm at right at the moment.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You didn't leave anything out?
No.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure.
Making sure.
Okay, so what are you up to, Jeff?
What am I up to? Let's see. Wednesday night is Niles Township Toastmasters out at the Niles Library. We meet at 7:30. It's open to the public. People can come on out and hang out if you want to become better with public speaking or communication or leadership. By all means, come on out and hang out. Thursday night, I will be out at Omega Station, and we're going to be playing old school D6 Star Wars role-playing games. I am not actually running. I think I'm supposed to be just playing. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Omega Station, that's the place where Bugioni works, right?
Owns it.
He owns it, okay.
Owns it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's Mike's place. And then Saturday, I have Toastmaster stuff, but nothing that's open to the public. It also seems to be RPG games, so who knows? Maybe I'll pop out and do something like that. Sunday, I have tickets with family. We are actually going to see the Cher musical downtown in this city, and that is over at the Oriental Theater. So I'm going on Sunday afternoon to see that. I don't know if that's really something I wanted to see, but I'm so.
I've heard some good things about it, though.
I guess I have not been a big fan of the whole. Once Mamma Mia kind of happened, everybody seems to have kind of wanted to do their version of Mamma Mia. I know there's another movie coming out with Mamma Mia. Yeah, there is. Oh yeah.
Here we go again, or something.
We got stuck with that trailer. I was like, ugh.
I didn't even like the first one, so I'm not going to see the second one.
But Mamma Mia is based on a play, Ivan, that's been out there for a long period of time. Between Mamma Mia and then what Green Day did with American Idiot, there's really been kind of that explosion amongst artists to try to figure out a way to use their stuff in to make it Broadway, to make it where they could use it for Broadway musicals and whatnot. So I'm kind of curious. I don't really know much about this the Cher show. I don't know if it's about her life or what they're doing with it. I saw Pretty Woman before it went to Broadway. I think it's headed to Broadway now. Earlier this year, and all I can say is apparently they were. I don't know what the problem is as to why they couldn't get the rights to the song Pretty Woman, but they badly needed it, and not to mention the fact one of the people who was writing on it was Bryan Adams, and you can tell from every song that's being sung.
I think the reason why they're having a bad time getting Pretty Woman is because of the recent congressional situation that's happening with copyrights in music and things like this.
You could just pay. You could just pay for the rights unless they got refused, which seems kind of crazy. But
it's, believe it or not, it's known to happen though. Well, it's known to happen that certain estates don't want their music exploited.
I guess. Well, like I said, it was kind of amusing because it's like you have a show. Granted, that's not. It was based around the movie, but yet, if you're gonna do a musical based on the movie, you don't. And the opening number is not the Pretty Woman song. You're kidding me, right? And it's nowhere else in the music.
That pretty much. That's like a bookend without one bookend.
Yeah, it's like the elephant in the room. But yeah, so I'm seeing this Cher show on Sunday afternoon. I will probably kick myself that I am not going to see I'm probably kicking myself that I'm not going to go see the WWE Money in the Bank show out at Rosemont on Sunday night, but I have a feeling that my bank account will thank me. But yeah, like I said, really in reality, I've got a few Toastmasters things, some gaming. I'll see this Cher thing. Maybe we'll talk about it on the next show. I don't know.
Jeff, Cher is the only artist to have hit singles in 5 decades.
Yep, you're right. The only other person that had that as team was Cliff Richards. He had hits in 4 decades out of 5.
What about Michael Jackson?
Nope.
No?
70s. Wow. Well, he wasn't a solo. He was a solo artist in the 70s.
Well, okay.
Well, he didn't really take off on his own until the 80s. Okay.
What year did Off the Wall come out? Was that 1980?
I think it was. Hold on.
Oh, well.
I want to say 80, 81.
Thriller was 82, wasn't it?
What? Which one? Thriller?
Thriller was 82, wasn't
it? Thriller was 83, 84.
Maybe Off the Wall was 82.
I thought Thriller was in the early 80s somewhere, but hold on.
Yeah, it was like 83 or 84. Well, it was because him and Prince were head to head there for a while, and it was 84.
Off the Wall is in 79.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Off the Wall is released in 79. Now, it's interesting because, according to this, I don't know, there's some listings for albums here on Wikipedia that I'm not aware of.
Oh, it's Wikipedia, okay.
One called Gotta Be There, one called Ben, one called The Music and Me, one called Forever Michael.
Those sound like singles.
Between 72 and 75.
Oh, those are the singles. Okay, yeah. When he was, the Jackson 5, okay, their discography goes all the way back to 68. And they were at Steeltown, and then when the corporation picked them up, not the story about Diana Ross discovering them, that's a load of shit. When it comes down to that, in 70 when Motown picked them up, and then Jackson 5 did do a lot of music, and then there were moments, especially for the movie Ben, where Michael Jackson did the lead song as a solo. And then from there, he ended up doing more projects like Little Itty Bitty Pretty One. He did Rockin' Robin, he did as a solo, where his name was front and center. This was probably the last go around in Berry Gordy's universe, where he would have the lead artist separate from the main artist. Like, for a while there was the Supremes, and then it became Diana Ross and the Supremes. But then, of course, that was because Diana Ross was sleeping with Berry Gordy. And then Also, it was like the Miracles, and then it became Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, but then it was the Jackson 5, and it became Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, in that respect. And the Off the Wall album in 79 was after he had left Motown and he went to Epic. And
which was part of Columbia.
Which was part of Columbia, which he ended up going in, and that was pretty much the album that started ramping up his career at Epic, and that's what led up to all of those great albums that followed right behind it. Because also the Jacksons were at Epic for a little while, but they were subsidiaried from Philadelphia International for a while. Songs like Enjoy Yourself, and then that spawned off into Shake Your Booty Down to the Ground in 79, which Off the Wall album. And then from there, the rest they say is history. So just so you're aware, Mike, Thriller is released in 82.
I was right.
You were right. Okay.
Thriller is released in 82, so it was 3 years after Off the Wall, and then 5 years after that is Bad.
Okay.
Followed
Thrillers. Isn't there a copy of Thriller in the Smithsonian?
Followed by Dangerous in 91.
Yeah, I think of all the albums though, I don't think after Thriller was out there, you couldn't surpass it with anything after that. Because that was
still one of the highest selling albums of all time.
It is.
Isn't it?
It continues to be one of the highest selling albums in recorded history.
Yeah.
That was his pinnacle. That was his big moment.
Yep.
Because everything on that album was solid. Although Dangerous and although Bad were, he was still, within that creative frame and everything, it just didn't have that same creative momentum as Thriller did. And then, of course, the fact coupled with the then new media thing called the music video and MTV, which he basically cornered the market on that whole thing.
Yep.
Premieres
for his music videos were events.
Yeah, they were huge.
Yeah, I remember like Fox had bought the rights to it at one point, but
and then when he made the Thriller video, and he incorporated Vincent Price, he literally bought out all of the elements that made that thing great, and people laughed at him and said, well, nobody's going to sit through a 15-minute music video.
Except the Motion Pictures.
Okay, because back then that was considered short subject. We're talking like, back in the day when it was something you showed in between two movies, the short subject, and they would say nobody's going to sit through a 15-minute music video. But then they said the same thing to Walt Disney years earlier, saying nobody's going to sit through a 90-minute animated cartoon. There you go. Who says lightning doesn't strike twice, right?
Right. Well, in fairness, I think at the time, keep in mind, when he was making Thriller, MTV still hadn't made it on the air, or MTV was still fledgling at the time.
It was a fledgling enterprise then.
Right.
So with that in mind, Video Killed the Radio Star, produced by Michael Nesmith of the Monkees, and then later the First National Band and everything. That was the first so-called music video thing, and then everything just kind of followed from behind it. But yeah, it was still a young enterprise when Michael Jackson stepped on, but he took full advantage of that.
Right. Well, he's one of the first people to totally get it. He's one of the first people to see what was possible or capable.
He exploited the media.
Yeah. Exactly, he did, and how.
Yeah.
And how people look at those videos today, and they're still like, damn. So because he puts a real thought into all that, So real imagine. You look at Smooth Criminal, you look at you look at Beat It, you look at Billie Jean, okay, and all of the movies and all of the music videos after that. Even up to just before he passed away, he was still trying to innovate things. Before he passed on, he was already working on holographic imagery on stage.
You know what's crazy? I'm looking at here.
Huh?
I'm looking at here. Some of the songs you would think, sometimes some of the biggest songs that you would think that are Michael Jackson songs, it's very interesting because some of them were not number one songs.
Well, no, they weren't all number ones. No.
I mean, it's funny. The last number one that Michael Jackson had was in 1995.
Okay.
And it was "You Are Not Alone."
Right.
And it spent 1 week at number one. 91 was it's funny because after that it skips 4 years back to 91, which is Black and White. And then it's funny because you've got the Bad album, and I'm looking at this here, and it's like the Bad album basically had a bunch of hits. Really, it's funny. I'm looking at this. No way. That really cannot be true.
What's that?
Thriller never hit number one?
No, that's bullshit.
Oh, no. Thriller only hit number 4.
No, that can't be right. You're looking at Wikipedia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I scrutinized Wikipedia. I think a better gauge of that would be Joel Whitburn's Billboard chart.
Okay, let me see if I can get to that.
Yeah, I think a better gauge of that would be Joel Whitburn's Billboard charts.
I can't believe Thriller wasn't number one album.
Yeah, it was a number one album.
Yeah.
And it had 6 or 7 number one songs on it. So I don't see how that could. I don't see how that could have. How that could be. Somebody's saying it was number 4. No, I don't. If that's true, that's a shocker. You know.
Michael Jackson. Here we go. Chart history, Billboard.
Yeah, because that is the most comprehensive chart action thing. Is Joel Whitburn.
All right, hold on. I'm looking.
Oh no, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I understand. Hot 100, okay. Okay, only 13 of the, okay, so only 13 were number one hits. And so here we go. It's Billie Jean, Beat It, Rock With You, Say, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Black or White, You Are Not Alone, The Way You Make Me Feel,
Man
in the Mirror, a song called Ben that I don't even recognize.
Ben? That was from the movie Ben. Yeah, I recognize that one.
Dirty Diana.
Okay.
I Just Can't Stop Loving You.
Okay.
Bad. That's it.
But okay, but that
here. Billboard.
Yeah, but
Billboard Thriller peaked at number 4.
But as an album?
No, as an individual single.
On the top.
Oh no, I was talking about the whole album.
No. We're talking about singles.
Oh, the Thriller as a single? Yeah, well, I think that was about the time. When Michael Jackson and Prince were going head to head for a while there. And they were
no, not yet, because Prince was 85, right? Or when's Purple Rain? Hold on, when's Purple Rain?
Purple Rain, I think, was 84.
I think it was 84. And then I think the whole Thriller thing momentum didn't start picking up till 83.
You're right. Purple Rain is midsummer of 84. Now here's the other question. Okay, that's what I thought. And Like a Virgin by Madonna was released in 84 too.
Yeah, which I remember going to that tour.
And then, hold on a second, there's one other thing I want to check. Okay, No Jacket Required was released in 85.
Okay.
I was listening to that in truck today. Baby, don't you lose my number.
Yep. I played some studio the other day at my one set.
There you go.
All right.
80s, man, and dig that 80s camp.
Huey Lewis Sports was
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing next week, Wednesday. It's gonna be fun.
Huey Lewis Sports was released in 83. Yeah. The only other thing I can think of is it Van Halen?
Okay.
Or no, Van Halen 1984, which obviously should have been released in 1984.
Duh.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, that was the one that featured Jump and all the rest of those great.
Right,
Panama and all that, yeah.
Right. The reason I'm mentioning it, I'm looking at this is I'm just trying to think of what albums were around at the time that would have
an effect on Thriller.
Would have an effect on it. Just like, I mean, I'm looking at this now. Like, I'm surprised. I'll give you an example of songs that I'm surprised that were not number ones. Remember the Time from Michael Jackson? That would be from, is it from the Bad album? No, it's not the Bad album.
It's from Dangerous, I think.
From Dangerous,
There
right?
was another music groundbreaking video. Eddie Murphy was in it.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That was running the coattails of Coming to America.
Right.
Yeah. No, well, was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here, Smooth Criminal clocks in at 7.
Well, that should have been much bigger because, man, that was a great tune.
Well, you know what I'm noticing? Some of the most iconic videos, like Smooth Criminal, right. Remember the Time, Thriller, none of those hit number one.
Maybe on the R&B chart.
Maybe. I'm just looking at the Hot 100.
Yeah, exactly, because, you might, depending on the category of chart that you're looking at.
Yeah, I'm looking at Hot 100.
Yeah, you look at the Hot 100, which, of course, that's the national chart.
Right, well, that's the overall chart. That's the overall number one chart. That's what I was kind of looking at.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you what's interesting is some of the songs that have slipped into the top 10 that are almost either that were later Jackson songs, like the one that was released posthumously with Justin Timberlake, "Love Never Felt So Good." That went all the way up to 9 in 2014, and then "You Rock My World," which was also, I don't know if you've ever seen the video, the one with Chris Tucker is fun. It's a 2001 release, peaked at number 10. So kind of crazy. I just, like I said, I don't know how we got on to Michael Jackson, but
I made a comment about Cher.
So you went from Cher to Michael Jackson. Well, because we were just thinking about the whole overall musical feel as translating from music to stage. And well, what bigger showman there was in that whole time and place was Michael Jackson.
Yeah, we watched This Is It. My brother-in-law brought it over because he's a big MJ fan. And we watched This Is It, and he still had it, like, up to his death. Michael Jackson had that stage presence.
Oh, well, yeah, he did. I mean, he was still innovating things. Yeah. He was still creating things. He was still going about the next level, I mean, and then, let me see, my understanding, too, is that Prince has got a release coming out shortly of songs that he had in the vault and everything that's supposed to be coming out really soon.
I don't know. It's been 2 years and nothing.
Well, I believe that it was supposed to have been a Record Store Day release, but then Record Store Day came and left, and I don't know if it was because they glommed on to work with all the other useless Record Store Days things that ended up being in the press.
Well, the fact that we have any new Prince content is because his family members can't decide about money, and all the lawyers are getting in. It's been 2 years since Prince is dead, and because he had no will, all the stuff's still stuck in legality.
Stuck in the vault, right?
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Okay, let's be honest for a second, and Ivan can attest to this. Prince has had some crazy stuff as it is with rights over the years. Like there was one album that I remember that I heard as a teenager that I heard bootleg that didn't get released for another decade, which was which is Prince's Black album, that is vastly different than anything I'd ever heard from Prince at any point in time. As a matter of fact, I was like, wow, holy cow, who's that? And they're like, Prince. I'm like, shut up, that is not Prince. But yeah.
Well, but that was because Prince, like a lot of artists, he has his moments where it's like, you know what, I want to give this a try. I want to do something that I'm not. Well, yeah. Well, he went totally off the map on that.
That's basically that has serious hip hop, rap implications, hardcore direction with some of that. I remember being like, wow.
Yeah, and he was like Michael, he had that what level can I take it now? Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. The world's away between the movie Purple Rain and then Under a Cherry Moon, which was an abysmal failure.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, so and that was the movie was brutal, the albums were worse. And I think it was because Prince's entanglement with his record label, because he had Paisley Park up at that point. And Warner Brothers was kind of like, I don't know, you're not making enough content for us to sell records, so we're not going to give you any leeway with the Paisley Park shit. So you know what, go fuck yourself, and that's pretty much their attitude about it.
To bring it back, yeah, share you're right. 6 straight decades with a number one consecutive with a number one.
Yep.
Right.
That's crazy. So here's the fun part, and this is a good place where we can end because we usually do something funny, but this will be actually kind of amusing. Okay, so there are 4 acts that I can name off the top of my head. Maybe Ivan will name others, but I'm not aware of. But there are 4 acts that have top 40 hit in the hot 100 for the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. Who do you think they are?
Okay, well, this is where I get kind of light in the knowledge area, because I don't follow.
Here, tell you what. I'll give you one. I'll give you guys one because this is where the article is. U2 joins ... So there's one.
U2 join.
Yeah, U2.
U2 is one of them.
Yeah.
Who are the other 3?
Well, U2, the Joshua Tree, With or Without You?
No. The point is, U2 is one of the 4 artists that have had a top 40 hit, Hot 100 to hit in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. So U2 is one of them. Who are the other 3?
I don't think Janet Jackson. No.
Nope, not Janet Jackson.
Springsteen.
Nope.
How about Toni Braxton?
No, I'll give you a hint. Names have come up in the conversations we've had. Just now.
The kid from The Rifleman.
Yes.
Boy, that's the greatest hits of his greatest hits.
Yeah.
The 80s, 90s, and the 2000s.
All right, so because we'll play along. Yeah, you get. It's funny. I give you this stuff, and right away you start going all over the place. These are pretty obvious.
Okay, well, all right. Well, what are they?
Okay, so I'll give you. All right, we'll go all the way to the third. I'm curious if you will ever get the last one. So it's U2, Michael Jackson, Madonna, and
Prince.
No. I will give you a hint. I think Mike has a better shot of getting this answer than you do.
Maybe Phil Collins?
No, not Phil Collins. But Mike has a better shot of getting this answer than you do. Yes, you would. Yes, you would. You would know who this is. And it's not Sweet. It's not.
Mariah Carey?
No.
No. She didn't have any hits in the 80s.
No hits in the 80s.
Oh, shit.
Come on. I gave you a huge hit with saying Mike would get it before you do.
Don't Mike, help me here. Oh, my gosh.
I don't know.
You're thinking anyway. All right, fine. The fourth artist. When I say this, you're going to sit there and go, of course. The one and only, the master of the accordion, Weird Al Yankovic.
Weird Al Yankovic?
Yep.
Yeah. And his tour just wrapped up Sunday.
I told you, Mike, you'd have gotten this before after.
Dang it.
This is the one time you'd have
got the fan. Yeah, Mike. Why didn't you know?
Yeah.
This is the one time I was like, oh, Mike will get this answer before Ivan will. I put money on it.
You're just busy prodding them. I mean,
I thought for sure when I kept saying that Mike would get this before you.
Yeah.
I thought that would be my giant clue. I've been thinking about that.
I've been on YouTube a lot watching home recordings of his covers. Like, he had his tour, this ill-advised vanity tour, where each set was different. A different night, had a different set list. And he'd do one cover. And he's done, like, Breakdown by Tom Petty. He's done What I Like About You. He's done Bowie. He's done Elvis, Little Richard. All over the place with these covers, and they're really great tunes. They're not just... Yeah, he's got a very, very talented band.
Oh, no. Let me tell you something. I saw him live. It's got to be at least 20 years ago I saw him live. And really, that might have been one of the best shows I've ever seen. He knows how to put on a show. If you have a chance to see Weird Al, it's money well spent.
Yeah, I've seen him twice.
Money well spent.
Yeah.
He's right. He puts on, I wouldn't call him a Michael Jackson level show, but it ain't far.
I mean, good is good, man. Good is good.
Well, he figured it out. I mean, he just gets it. He understands how to make it work, how to make a show look and all that stuff. And he, and he gets who he is and what he is. So.
Well, he's a showman. I mean, he knows how to put it out there and get the people involved and get to where they're at, and he strikes a chord. I mean, that's a gift when you got an entertainer.
No, Ivan, he strikes an accordion.
Oh.
Yeah.
And with that,
well, you didn't see what I'm doing. You guys didn't see what you're doing. I said, Ivan, what are you doing? And then Jeff, what are you doing? And then we go about Michael Jackson for 20 minutes.
All right. Well, okay, Mike, what are you doing?
Well, I'm just going to go see Incredibles 2. That's it.
Well, I'm going to go see Incredibles 2.
Yeah. And also it'll be at Brick World on Sunday. It's at the Schaumburg Convention Center this weekend.
I'm kind of hoping that over at the arcade, over at Logan Arcade, that we do Lego night again. Because that'd be cool. I would love that. I missed out on it the last time. We brought in like 50 pounds of Legos, and we had people just come in and they got to build whatever they want and they got to take it home.
Just make sure that they're not wearing shoes. That could be amusing all by itself.
If you step on a Lego brick meme.
Ow!
Ow! The thought of that even hurts. Ooh.
You know what hurts?
What?
The podcast is going to have to end.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been a long-winded night, folks.
Yeah. We appreciate you listening. Any questions, comments, or threats or insults or whatever, please send us an email to sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. We are on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We're on Facebook and, of course, the YouTubes. We appreciate you listening. Hit that subscribe and like button. We love you for it. We appreciate it.
We appreciate you listening with us, and thank you for joining us here. This is Squares of the Round Table, and, of course, we're saying so long. I'm Jaimin Ivan.
I'm Jeff Stein.
Mike Boyle, thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. Good night. Goodbye. So long. Prosit. Bang.